Looks like her audio is connecting. Here we go. Hi, Kelly. Welcome to Candlelight Yoga. So this evening, I've been feeling that too. Kelly, you're just joining us. We were talking about feeling pretty exhausted and just tired all around in the body and the mind. And so I thought, I've been feeling that too. One of the things that we could do with our yoga practice is take a more restorative approach, just to help replenish the body when all of our energy has been expensed, emotional energy, mental energy, physical energy. We can kind of cultivate the opposite by taking a more restorative approach to our yoga practice. And I'm gonna give a list of yoga props that if you happen to have, go ahead and grab them. But I want you to know that for this practice, you don't really need any props at all. So if you don't have the things that I'm gonna name off, don't worry, this will still be a great class. Okay, the first thing will be a strap. If you don't have a strap that's a designated yoga strap, you could use the belt of a robe, or you could use just a regular pants belt if you want to have something like this. But if you don't, then I'll give you an option for how we can do our leg stretches without the strap. If you happen to have a blanket, you might want to grab that. We're going to be using the blanket to cover ourselves a little later. I know it's a little warmer outside now that we're getting into summertime, but sometimes it can be nice, just to cover our bodies and make ourselves nice and cozy during Shavasana. And you can also use it to sit on when we come to a couple of our seated postures. Okay, and then lastly, if you have a bolster will be a nice option for our final resting pose. We're going to lay down in supported Shavasana. A couple of bed pillows stacked on top of each other will also work. If you don't have any of those items handy, we'll just lie onto the floor without anything underneath us, no problem. Okay, so those are the items. I'm going to try once again to pin my video. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and...
I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, Sarah's going to grab her goodies. So we'll wait for her. Kelly, if you need some time to go grab these things, feel free. Okay, perfect. All right. So we're going to start lying down on the floor. And so we're going to come into a reclined position using our pillow or our blanket as a support for beneath the legs. So go ahead and take whatever you have, anything at all, and then place it underneath your legs. And then go ahead and lie back onto the floor. If you need something for beneath your head, maybe a little bit of support for the neck, you might consider grabbing another pillow, a small pillow or a small blanket, just to place it beneath the head. And then I want you to move around a little bit if you need to. Stretch your legs long over the pillow. Set your arms down beside you and let your palms open up. If that feels comfortable, you can roll your palms open towards the ceiling. And then just take a nice deep breath in. And fill all the way up to a comfortable capacity. And then sigh the breath out nice and slow so that you can feel all the sensations of the breath leaving the body. Then do that a few more times, just taking some conscious, deep breaths as a way to center your mind and relax your body. And then eventually let your breathing return to a nice, natural, easy breath. And I want you to bring your attention to all the places in your body where you can feel the ground beneath you. It's those touching points that you have with the earth. And start to connect with the way that gravity pulls you down. Allow the feeling of that gravitational pull to invite in a steady presence, much like that of a mountain or a rock. Just a nice steady presence. Notice the way that your clothes feel on your body, the way that the temperature of the air feels as it touches your face. And then notice the way that your breathing feels as it moves in and out through your body. And what I want you to do as you begin to pay attention to your breath is follow your breath. Follow it wherever it goes in the body. Notice if it's in the belly center, the ribs, the chest. Notice if your breathing can be felt in your shoulders, in your back, in your neck. Is it in the throat? Or maybe it's right there at the nostrils, just right there on the upper lip. I want you to find a place where you feel the breath in the body the most, where it's most easily detected. And I want you to think of this place as an anchor for your mind and for your body. Let your breath steady you the same way that an anchor steadies a boat. Now I know that in a moment's notice, the mind may wander. It might be pulled away to a noise or a distraction or a thought or a feeling or a memory, all sorts of ways for the mind to become distracted. I want you to allow that to be okay. The moments of mindfulness come when we acknowledge that our mind has wandered. And we just gently bring it back to that anchor, that feeling in your body of where your breath is today. Coming back, giving the mind a chance to return to presence. And now I'm going to invite you to do a breathing practice. And this breathing practice is a really wonderful practice for reducing anxiety, for calming the nervous system, and for helping the mind to be more steady and a little less busy. If you're feeling the mind is very busy, this practice is great for that. So what I want you to do is start to inhale to a nice, comfortable capacity and count how long it takes for you to get to the top. Maybe it's a count of 3 or 4. And then I want you to exhale and purposefully make your exhale longer than your inhale. So if it was a 3 count for the inhale, see if you can make your exhale a 5 or a 6. And I want you to continue to breathe in this way, inhaling, and then purposefully exhaling a longer length in your inhale. I want you to find a ratio, a count that works best for you, that doesn't cause strain or doesn't cause more stress, but does the opposite, helps you to become more steady and more present. And as you continue to do this practice, I want you to just notice where you feel the breathing in your body. And practice using that breath as an anchor. Good. Now I want you to let go of the breathing exercise. Just let your breathing return to the natural, easy breath, effortless breath. Just letting go of any control of the breathing. And then I want you to take your arms up above your head and just stretch a little bit when you get here. Feel free to point and flex your feet. Feel free to open and close your palms. Maybe you want to roll your wrists and your ankles. And as you continue here, just reaching, I want you to energize your arms and your legs. And just start to feel a sense of elongation, bringing your attention into sensation of the body as you stretch. Good. Now on your next exhale, you're going to release your arms back down. Relax your legs. And then you're going to bend your knees. And you're going to bring your knees in towards your chest. Now once the knees are in, I want you to just rock a little side to side, massaging the back of your body against the earth. And I want you to imagine that your legs have just become a fishtail. So they're glued together or moving towards one another. You have one leg instead of two. You're going to circle your knees around together, creating a nice big circle with both knees together. And just feel the kind of circular movement of the back of your pelvis on the ground, the way that it's getting a little massage. We're just starting to kind of create some relief in the lower back. And use a few postures here to release the lower back and release the legs. Okay, and then I want you to now let your legs become two again. So you're going to separate the knees apart and then bring them back together again, creating some nice circles. And when you do this movement, I want you to notice what's different, what's the same between what we just did and what we're doing now. Where do you feel this? Okay, good. Now go ahead and bring your knees together. And if you have that pillow or bolster underneath your legs to begin with, you're going to slide it off to the side so it's out of your way. And then you're going to place your feet down onto the floor. I want you to bring your hands onto your belly center. And we're going to do what's called stomach squeezes using the breath. And this is a little practice that we can do to build some very deep internal strength in the front abdominal wall. Okay, so what I want you to do is to breathe down into the belly center as you inhale. And you can use that breathing practice we did at the beginning of class here. Breathe down into your belly center. And then when you exhale, I want you to squeeze your belly muscles and exhale the whole breath out. And as you squeeze, push your low back down into the floor. And then as you inhale, fill up your belly center and let your lower back relax. And then exhale, squeeze your belly muscles and push your low back into the mat. There's a little bit of a pelvic tuck that happens, a little tiny one, and it'll almost feel like you're cinching or creating a corset around your waist when you exhale. Okay, we'll do 5 rounds total, so just do 3 more. Nice long exhale, and the awareness of the squeezing of your abdominals on the exhalation. Just kind of observing how our breathing is connected to our abdominals. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so after you've done those breathing stomach squeezes with the breath, just let your belly muscles relax. But remember what it felt like to have that tone, that gentle squeeze of the abdominals. Because we're going to use that when we come into some of our poses next. Okay, so you can have your feet the distance of the hips. I want you to grab your belt if you're using a belt. And I'll show you an option, Kelly. I can't see you, so I'm not sure if you have one or not. I'm just going to show an option just in case you don't have a belt. Okay, so with the belt, you're going to bring your right knee in. Okay, and if you don't have a belt, bring your right knee in too. If you have a belt, you're going to loop the strap around your foot. If you don't have a belt, you're going to interlace your fingers behind the back of your leg. Okay? And then in either case, I want you to take your leg up into the air and straighten it. If you have a belt, you're going to hold on to it. If not, you're just going to keep your fingers interlaced behind your leg. Okay, and now we're going to move dynamically with the breath. So I want you to find that feeling of squeezing or zipping up your midline, engage your front abdominal wall, and then take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to bend your knee. And then inhale and straighten the leg. And exhale to bend. We're going to do this 3 more times. Just starting to release the back of your leg. Get a little stretch in your hamstring. And also help to just release any tension that might be in your lower back. Now when you get to the 5th round and your leg is straight again, I just want you to stay here and breathe in single leg stretch. If you've got the strap, it might be helpful to straighten your right arm, walk your hand all the way up to the strap and hold both ends in one hand. And then with your left hand, now this only applies if you're using a strap. If your left hand, you got your left hand, you can take it to the top of the left thigh and then just start to straighten the left leg out onto the floor. Now if you're holding onto your right leg with both hands in this part, you can still straighten your left leg, but you'll be using both your hands to hold your right leg. And we're just gonna stay here and breathe. This is single leg stretch. Reclined hand to big toe pose. It's, again, just a really nice pose to help release the legs and release the lower back. So I just want you to just be here. Just be here and breathe. If you're feeling too much resistance in the lower back with the left leg straight, you can always just rebend the knee. That'll make it a little bit easier. I just want you to find a place where you can just be with the stretch. Keep your awareness of your breath in your body. You find that place in your body where you feel your breath the most, and let that be that anchor for you. And sometimes in our quieter practices like this, we become more aware of how busy the mind is. And so you can also make it a practice of just being present, being in your body, being with your breath. And just consciously being compassionate, and kind with yourself as you do your practice. Okay. And now from here, we're going to release the right leg. So I want you to go ahead and bend your right leg and then just bring both legs onto the floor, straighten them out, and take a moment to just feel your right leg in comparison to your left leg. And just notice if there's an obvious difference. Notice if one leg feels longer or heavier, or does it feel lighter or shorter? Is there a warmth to it? Is there a kind of flow maybe of energy? Just kind of observing what you feel. And now we're going to treat the other side. So I want you to bend both your knees and place your strap around your left foot. Start with your right knee bent and your right foot on the floor. And once you've got yourself prepared, remember to zip up your midline. Feel that gentle tone of your navel center. And then with your breath, you're going to bend and straighten that left knee 5 times. And take your time. There's really no rush. Boy, my left leg feels extra tight tonight in comparison to my right. I can tell you that much. My knee especially too. It feels extra something. And so once you get to that 5th one, go ahead and hold the left leg up into the air in the straight leg position. Make sure that you've got a comfortable grip on your strap. Walk your hands up the strap, bring both ends into one hand, and then let your right hand rest on the top of the right thigh as you start to straighten the right leg out. And then when you do this, do your best to keep your neck and your shoulders relaxed. Try and soften your facial muscles as best you can. If at any point you start to feel too much resistance happening, you can make some adjustments. One of the adjustments was bending the bottom leg You can also let the straight leg, the one that's up in the air, drop a little closer to the earth if there's too much stretch happening and it's uncomfortable. For restorative practices, we want to try to strike a balance between the effort and the ease so that we are really actively working on moving our nervous system into that slower, resting and digesting mode, moving out of fight, flight, and into the rest position. This is especially important for us if we are actively participating in some of the, the movements that are happening right now. If we are actively talking with friends and family about really difficult current events and having hard conversations, it's especially important that we take the time to move into a rest and digest nervous system so that the body has time to recoup. We'll take another deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you're going to release. We're going to straighten both legs out onto the floor again. And just take a moment to feel both legs. And notice now the left leg and the right leg together. And observe if there's those obvious differences again. Do the legs feel longer, shorter, heavier, lighter? Is there a flow of energy, a warmth, a coolness? What do you notice? What about your lower back? What about your mid back? How does that feel? Okay. And now I want you to go ahead and bend your knees and bring your feet down to the earth. And you can take your arms out to the side. So you can set your belt off to the side too. And we're going to move into what I like to call a butterfly wing movement of the legs. It's really slow and really intentionally creating some tension in the hips. This is a strengthening posture for the hips. So what I want you to do is bring your two big toes to touch. Remember that idea of creating a fishtail with your legs. I want you to do that here. Bring the legs close together. And then take up to 5, maybe 10 cycles of breath to allow the knees to slowly open up out to the side. Okay, so this is real slow. And as the knees open up, the soles of the feet can kind of come together. And you're going to take your time bringing the knees open. And then you're going to take up to 5 to 10 cycles of breath. So real slow, you're going to bring the knees back together again. And as you do this, stay zipped up in your midline. You might even consider pushing the lower back down into the mat if you're feeling particularly achy or uncomfortable in the lower back. Now when you do this movement here, you might start to feel a little like trembly or shaky in your inner thighs and your hips, and that's okay. That's all right. That's kind of part of this where we're intentionally creating some tension in the tissues, in the muscles. And this is just building some resilience, some strength. Okay, so we're gonna do, let's do 3 more. I'm on my 3rd round now. So I want you to do 5 rounds total. And just take your time with your breath. If 5 rounds feels like too much, just do what you can. And make this a joyful experience for yourself. Keeping in mind that even when the legs come together and even when they come apart, don't lose your strong core. Keep it very tight, very engaged. Okay, and you might notice that the breath is not as full, it's not as deep when we stay really engaged in our abdominals. That's okay, that's normal. That's just because our diaphragm is a little more constricted. It's not able to fully move in the way that it would if we weren't completely tight in the abdominal muscles like this. So once you're done with that 5th round, I want you to let your feet, soles of the feet come together, let the knees open, let your belly muscles relax, and just take a moment to drop into letting go. Just for a moment. Just invite in a nice big open stretch in the inner thighs. Let your lower back do whatever it wants here. If it wants to arch a little bit, that's okay. Just let yourself really let go for just a moment. Invite in a nice release. Sometimes it's helpful to take the hands to the inner thighs and just gently smooth the inner thighs open. Just letting them know it's okay. This is safe. We're safe. Right here, right now. Everything is okay. You might even take a nice big breath in and just send the breath down into the hips, down into the lower back. And then let out a nice, long, slow exhalation. Okay, and then if the legs need a little help, bring your hands to the outsides of the thighs and bring the legs back together. And then walk your feet apart so they're wider than the hips, and then just let your knees come into touch for a moment. We're just doing the opposite of what we just did, just to kind of counter the movement. This is this is called a constructive resting pose. It's more of an internal rotation of the legs. Maybe you can notice a bit of widening across the lower back here. Let's invite in another deep breath down into the hips, down into the belly. And a long, slow exhale. Okay. And then separate your knees and walk your feet a little closer together. Bring your arm up, one arm, it can be your right or your left, and then just roll to that side. Pause for presence, for peace, just for a moment on your side. And then go ahead and press yourself up. Okay, and you're going to come onto your hands and your knees. So the blanket can be helpful here underneath the knees. If you happen to be on a hard floor, if you're on a carpet, then maybe you don't need the blanket. Okay, but bringing hands under shoulders and knees underneath your hips, I want you to just start to move through some gentle cat-cow. You'll inhale, lift your heart, lift your head. Exhale and round your spine. Inhaling, lift head, lift heart, lift tailbone a little bit. And then exhale and round. And so keep going, just moving back and forth through the two postures. There's really no right or wrong way to do these postures here. These are just nice movements for the spine. It gets the whole spine, all the vertebrae moving. And just think of where you're experiencing movement here, from the head all the way to the tailbone. Just noticing what you're feeling. And then we're going to come back to a nice center spine, tabletop position. And we're gonna move into a downward facing dog, a nice little inversion. So I want you to tuck your toes under, lift your knees up, push the earth away, and let your head come in between your arms. And when you get here, I want you to straighten your arms as best you can. Think of lifting your hips up and back, and then feel free to pedal your feet. We can get a little more into the Achilles heels and the calves here, and the soles of your feet. Feel your toes spreading wide against the floor. And just get a nice big stretch. Remember to stay toned in the belly center. This is a nice inversion. So we're getting to flip everything upside down, kind of like shaking up the Etch-a-Sketch, clearing the slate, clearing our chalkboard for the night. Just letting the day go so that we can enter into a restful night's sleep. And take one more breath here if you're still in down dog. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring your knees back down to the ground. And we're going to move now into a supported child's pose. So if you're using that pillow, you've got that pillow or that bolster, I want you to bring it in front of you. If you're not using anything, Kelly, you can do this without. You can always just come into a regular unsupported child's pose. Okay, but if you're using something, a bolster or a pillow, you're going to bring that in between the knees. Let it come a little closer to you. If you've got something that's really soft, you can also just bring it up onto the tops of the thighs and then fold over the top of it. I want you to make sure that you feel supported. And then you're going to let your body come down onto the bolster or onto the pillows. And then just allow your arms to relax. Let your elbows relax. If we're doing this without, then the forehead will just come down to the floor. And we'll still allow the elbows and the arms to relax. Let your hips be heavy. Just letting them move towards the heels. It's all right if they don't touch. Sometimes we need to make some adjustments for the knees. I want you to move into child's pose in a way that will allow it to be a quiet and peaceful pose for just a few moments. Child's pose calms the nervous system, it lowers the blood pressure, and helps our body and mind relax. It's really basically a good pose for everybody, especially during times of very high stress. If you are using a bolster and you have your head turned in one direction, you might turn your head to look in the opposite direction for a moment, just to give some evenness to the rotation of the neck. I want you to let your stomach muscles relax. Let your shoulders relax. Just being with the breath, right here, right now in this pose. That's all you need to do. Good. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and press ourselves up to tabletop. And you can move your pillow or your bolster out of the way and then come to sit. Now here's where the blanket underneath you might be helpful. If you have a seat on the floor and you find it challenging to find length in your spine, like a nice long lower back and an open chest, if you struggle with tightness, too much tightness in the lower back and the hamstrings, blanket underneath you will be really helpful in the process as you release and work towards the long spine. The pillow or the bolster might be really helpful for these next few seated postures we're going to do. So have that handy. Okay, and then once you find your seat, I want you to stretch your legs out in front of you into a pose called staff pose, Dandasana. I'm going to turn towards the side so you have a different view of me than the one you have right now. I think it'll be better. Okay, so we're here. And you'll just bring your hands next to your hips, okay, in Dandasana. And I want you to allow your elbows to kind of roll in a little bit so you feel your shoulders pulling back and opening your chest. You're going to spread your toes and activate through your feet. Just take a nice big breath in here, feeling strength, feeling tall, feeling strong in your back. Okay. And then from here, I want you to bend both of your knees. Okay. And you're going to allow the soles of the feet to come together again. And then the knees are going to open up out to the side. You're going to bring your hands behind you again. And this time, if you want to, you can turn your fingers to point out. They don't necessarily have to point towards the feet. But what I want you to do is roll your shoulder heads back and bring your shoulder blades in towards the back of your body, like you're trying to move them towards your heart. And then allow your heart to lift a little bit. So you're taking a little bit of a chest and heart opener here. And then just breathe. This is called bound angle pose. This is a seated version of bound angle pose. And taking a few breaths here. I want you to allow your hips to be nice and heavy. Allow your knees to relax towards the earth. This is a nice posture for relaxing the internal organs, the kidneys, tones the kidneys, the bladder, the reproductive organs. It just helps to relax the hips. One more nice deep breath in. And then from here, you're going to bring your hands forward, and we're going to take a forward fold right over the legs. Okay, so you can start to walk your hands forward here. And then just start to let your body fold, your head drop towards your feet. Allow your tailbone to move down towards the earth. Let your shoulders drop. Let your head be heavy. Maybe that chin comes in towards the chest. And just take a moment to breathe here. So this again, a nice posture for getting a nice little stretch in the hips. And this one here helps to release the lower back some more. And now slowly lift yourself up to an upright position. And you're going to bring the knees together. And we're going to straighten both legs out again, coming back into staff pose, Dandasana. I want you to grab a hold of the back of your left knee. And you're going to bend your left knee and bring the foot to the floor. And then you'll just walk your heel in towards your bum, as close as it can comfortably go to where you can keep both of your hips weighted onto the earth with an even distribution of weight. You're going to bring your left hand behind you and just start a little rotation in the ribs. You can see I'm kind of turning already towards the bent leg. Make sure that you are upright in your spine. You're sitting up tall. You're going to bring your right arm up. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, you can either hook the elbow to the outside of the knee, or you can just hug the knee in towards the chest. Sometimes when I hug the knee, it's a little bit more comfortable for me, and then I can just clasp my hands and just be here. Okay, this is Marichyasana 3, also known as Sage Twist number 3. Okay, let your hips rotate with the ribs if that's what feels best for your lower back. Keep your shoulders down and away from your ears, and just breathe. Okay, seated twist. This just helps you, helping to release the upper back muscles, the shoulder muscles, and the neck. And then we're going to go ahead and unwind from the twist. And now I want you to let your left knee fall out to the side. So we're setting up now for head to knee pose. I'm going to turn so that you can see me. So left knee out to the side, right leg is straight out in front of you. Here's where your bolster might come in handy. Okay, so I want you to sit up nice and tall again. And this time we're going to take an inhale and bring our arms up above our head. And now I want you to rotate just a little bit towards your right leg. And then as you exhale, you're going to fold. And so you're going to reach forward and you're going to fold. And now wherever you land is the best place today. If you want to use extra support, you might take your bolster, your pillow, and maybe place it on top of your shin bone or on top of the leg someplace and use it as a little anchor. Okay, but that's just an option. I want you to let your hips remain nice and happy as you fold. Think of moving your heart towards the toes. Let the head drop. And just breathe. This is a great posture for relieving a jittery stomach. Also tones the reproductive organs and supporting muscles. This posture is effective in helping to lower blood pressure by relieving the mental and physical tension. And it may also be an effective posture for relieving headaches. On your next breath in, you're going to come all the way up to the upright position. We're going to bring the left knee in and straighten the leg. Just coming back into staff pose for a moment. And then we'll go ahead and we'll bend the right knee now. I'm going to turn this way. So bending the right knee. We're going to walk the foot in as close as it can comfortably go towards your bum, to where you can keep both your hips on the earth and a nice long spine. The right arm will go behind you. You're going to start with that rotation, setting up for sage twist. Take a breath in, reach your left arm up, and then as you exhale, rotate a little more, and then option to either hook the elbow or hug the knee in. And so you're allowing the knee to come closer towards the body. I want you to try not to force yourself into a deep twist. Don't use the arms to leverage it into a deeper rotation. Just let the arms be there as an accessory. Rotating to a point that feels comfortable, striking a balance between effort and ease. And we're going to gently release from the twist. Okay. And we're going to allow now our right leg to fall out to the side. The left leg is straight out in front of us. And we're going to bring our arms up as we take a deep breath in. I want you to find a little rotation in your ribs as you turn towards your left toes. And then go ahead and fold. Folding over the leg. Get to head to knee posture. Let your shoulders relax. Nice. Good, Sarah. Letting the shoulders relax. Letting your hips relax. Head to knee pose is like, you know the phrase, 2 birds, 1 stone. Head to knee pose, Janu Shirshasana, is like 3 birds, 1 stone. It's a forward fold. You get that nice release in the hamstrings, the back, and that restorative, peaceful, calm quality of a forward fold. You get a little hip stretch. So you get a hip opener. Both hips are getting some opening. And if we invite in the rotation, we get a little twist. Kind of cool. And we're going to slowly lift ourselves all the way up to the upright position. Go ahead and bring your right knee in, straightening both legs. Bring your hands right next to your hips one more time. Open your chest. Take a nice deep inhale here. And as you breathe in, bring your arms all the way up one more time. And on the exhale, we're going to come into Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. You're going to reach, you're going to dive over your legs and take that nice forward fold. This is a seated forward fold, seated forward bend, Paschimottanasana. Gita Iyengar, BKS Iyengar is the teacher, modern yoga teacher who created Iyengar Yoga, which is where a lot of the restorative postures come from. And Gita is his daughter, and she's still alive. And she says that Paschimottanasana, this pose here, is good for the digestive system because it massages and strengthens your abdominal organs and tones your kidneys and liver. This pose also helps instill a sense of safety and peace. So while you're here, you might remind yourself that right now, in this moment, everything is okay. Nothing is wrong right now. Right now you are safe. Right now there is peace to be found. You're going to slowly come on up. Take your time as you rise. And now we're going to come into Shavasana again. Okay, so as I had mentioned at the beginning of class, you can take the option of using a pillow or a bolster for supported Shavasana, where we take the blanket, the pillow and the bolster and bring it behind our back. This opens up the chest, allows for a bit more space across the front of the body. You can also just lie right down onto the floor and bring the pillow underneath the legs again if you want. And then use your blanket to cover you somewhere. I know it's warm outside, so if all we do today is just take the blanket and place it across the tops of the thighs or across the abdomen, it can help instill that sense of peace and safety. Just having a little bit of weight on the body, it's kind of like having a hug, kind of like giving yourself a hug. So coming into your final resting posture, whatever that means to you, if you have a favorite posture that you prefer, that's okay. And, you know, Shavasana is, it's really one of the best restorative postures. Because of its, you know, its nature of just allowing the body to rest. You know, even if there's one posture you take each day to rest your body and restore the nervous system, it could be Shavasana. I want you to take a few deep breaths if you need to. Let your legs get heavy. Allow your arms to be heavy. Rest the facial muscles. Relax your eyes, your cheeks. Relax your jaw. I want you to bring your attention to your fingertips. And just notice sensation in the fingertips. As if you could feel them from the inside out. What do you feel? Is there a tingling? Maybe a pulsing? Then notice your toes. Bring your attention to your toes. And as if you could feel your toes from the inside out, notice what you feel. Is there the same sensation there? Tingles, pulse. What about warmth or cool? As you begin to notice sensation in your body from the inside out, you start to let your awareness travel through the legs, noticing the legs, the hips, noticing the arms, kind of sensation you can feel from the inside out. Is there any sense of sharpness, sharp feeling? Is there any sense of softness? Is there warmth? Cool? Are there any aches? Do you feel pain? Do you feel pleasure? Just allowing yourself to observe sensation, all sensations, without judging or trying to create narrative around what you feel. Just allowing yourself to feel. And looking at it all through a lens of loving, kind awareness. Noticing sensations in your belly center, in your back and chest. Is there a sense of tightness anywhere present in the body, or relaxation? And what about the neck and the throat and shoulders? Noticing sensation in the face, in the lips, the cheeks, the nose and eyes. And take just one more moment to observe the whole body. And see if you can feel a kind of energetic field of energy throughout the whole body. Feeling energy inside and outside of the body. As human beings, we have a whole spectrum of sensation, a whole spectrum of feelings and thoughts, and to deny the existence of any part of that spectrum is to deny ourselves the very meaning of being human. Now, we're going to come out of Shavasana, so I want you to take your time and just start with some gentle movement, like little wiggles of fingers and toes. Open your eyes. Perhaps take your arms up and stretch. Slowly waking up little bit by little bit. And then as you're ready to, you can bend your knees and hug them in towards your body, hugging yourself. And then I want you to roll to one side and pause once again for a moment of presence, peace. And then gently press yourself up, coming to a comfortable seated position. Join me with your hands together in Anjali Mudra at your heart. And we'll close our practice tonight with an Om. I want you to take a nice deep breath in. Namaste. Aw, puppy kisses. So cute. Thank you so much, Sarah and Kelly, for joining me this evening, and thank you for doing your practice. It is a huge contribution. Every time you give yourself love and take time to care and nurture your spirit, you are contributing to the well-being of everybody else. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I will see you again soon. We'll be back here, Candlelight Yoga on Tuesday at 8:30.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, good night. Bye.